YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A-N-LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. So look, I had to come back and I had to do a kind of update, an updated review on this gun. This gun holds a special place in my heart because this gun really was kind of the gateway gun for me. This was not the 2011, the first 2011 that I bought. I actually bought the first one I bought was my Staccato P, and then shortly after that I picked up the Staccato C2. Now don't get me wrong, those are phenomenal firearms, 100%. At that time when I bought those two guns, I had a lot of really good polymer framed, striker fired pistol, as well as some all metal hammer fire guns. And I had taken those guns as far as I possibly could. Like in terms of upgrades, I mean, I did updated grip panels, stipplings, upgraded triggers, upgraded internals, you name it, put the best of the best optics on it, all of that stuff. And those guns were really, really good shooter. And when I picked up my P and my C2, they were at that time really out of the box, kind of still the best guns in my collection at that point. But they weren't huge, like night and day difference between those and some of my other pistols, like my Beretta 92X Performance or my CZ, my upgraded CZ Shadow 2, or some of the other really, really great guns that I have modified and taken, you know, kind of $1,100, $1,200 guns and make them $2,000, $2,200 guns. Where I felt like the P was better, the C2 were better guns. Not by miles, right? It wasn't until I picked up the Staccato XC. And obviously the way you see it here is not the way it comes out of the box, but still, a lot of the manufacturing holds true. When I felt how buttery smooth that slide was, when I felt how silky smooth the trigger press was, I was like, oh, this is what people meant when they were talking about 2011s. I get it now. And I hadn't yet discovered Atlas or Venom or Combat Precision or Rafferty or Hayes. I hadn't got there yet. But when I felt this, I was like, oh, this gun is different. And because it was that gateway gun for me, it holds a special place in my heart. Now, I sent this gun out to Monsoon Tactical. Really, the two criticisms I have of the XC out of the box were that it had a polymer grip module and the trigger was just really good trigger pull, really good feeling trigger, but not great. Good, but not great. So we upgraded this gun with the Vulcan Precision grip module. We upgraded it with a red dirt trigger, and fam, this gun has now reached its level. So I thought it would be good for us to go back, revisit the review, especially now too that I have a lot of kind of really high-end custom level firearms to compare the XC to. And I'll let you know right out the box, the way you see it here, this gun will run with any of those guns. 100%. It'll run with any of those guns. Now, those guns are better, manufactured a little better, quality of materials a little bit better. Yes, 100%. But in terms of just shooting and shooting experience, this gun is up there. It is up there. So let's talk about it. Now, if you haven't seen a 2A-N-LA review, You can go from a 0 to 100. No gun has ever gotten a 0. No gun has ever got 100. But one can always hold out hope for both of those things to happen. A 50 to 60 is kind of right down the middle. Gun, think Glock 17, Gen 5. A gun that's gonna go bang every time, very reliable, but just really no feels or thrills to it. If you got something that's 60 to 70, that's one deviation above the norm, usually that gun maybe has a special feature to it that make it stand out from the rest. If you got a gun that's like 70 to 80, that gun probably has a few different features or a couple of features that make it stand out, that elevates it to a different level. If you got something 80 to 90, now you're talking about a gun that's at or close to best in class. Those guns are few and far between. If you got something that's 90 or above, you're talking grail gun status. Now, when I got my Staccato XC, before I did any of the modifications that you see here, right out of the box, that gun scored an 83 out of a possible 100 points. So you have some kind of understanding about where it ranks on this scale without any modifications. But let's get into 2A-N-LA's upgraded by Vulcan Machine Works Staccato XC. All right, fam, first up, fit and finish. Staccato does a really good job with their manufacturing process, fam. Now, the gun out of the box is DLC coated. We sacrificed that a little bit for looks with this gun. The comp remains DLC coated because you need that with all of the gases that are going to be escaping through this. The rest of the gun is Cerakote. We did upgrade it though to, like I said before, to a metal grip. This gun is very well machined. Tolerances are solid. Staccato does a great job. They're a reason why Staccato is a Glock of the 2011 market. Nobody is producing the kind of volume that they are doing. They remind me a lot of in terms of the quality and consistency of their manufacturing, in the mid-tier to lower tier range. Staccato is the standard. So for fit and finish, as you see it right here, we're giving this gun a 14 out of a possible 15 for fit and finish. All right, fam, next up, reliability. Fam, I got a lot of rounds through this gun. I put quite a few rounds to it before I sent it off to Vulcan, and I put a lot of rounds through it since. And fam, this gun is incredibly reliable. I can't think of a misfeed offhand. I typically use Staccato or Atlas mags, and so I don't, as long as I do that, I really don't run into a problem. Maybe every once in a blue moon, I'll have an ammo issue where there's like a light primer strike or something like that, but that's ammo related. But in terms of a real issue with the reliability of the firearm, this gun is incredibly consistent. We're going to give it a 15 out of a possible 15 for reliability. All right, fam, next up, durability. Look, as you see it here, it's an all metal gun, Cerakote finish, not as durable as DLC or PVD, obviously, but that's part on me, so I'm not going to ding it too much for that. But in terms of the quality of the internal, Staccato does a really good job. And again, I've done some enhancements to the gun. For durability, we're going to give this a 14 out of a possible 15. All right, fam, next up, triggers. Look, fam, Red Dirt does a great job. You know, like I said, the Staccato trigger out of the box is a good trigger, not a great trigger. I'd say the Red Dirt trigger is a great trigger. This trigger, very little take up. I'll go ahead and put the pull weight up there so you can see it. Very little take up, clear defined wall. Crisp clean break. Reset. Whew. Look, fam, this gun is fast. This trigger is incredible. We're going to give trigger 14 out of a possible 15. All right, fam, next up, accuracy. bull barrel, compensated gun, Drake trigger. Usually those things with somebody who is a decent shooter is going to translate to accuracy. The one thing I want to give full credit to is the comp that Staccato uses on the XC is one of the best comps out there I've run across, particularly at this price point. It really, really does keep this gun uber flat. Really, really good barrel. Of course, I had the barrel tri-topped, and you can see your boy's got that 2A-N-LA on the barrel. We had the barrel badging done. That has nothing to do with accuracy. But really, really accurate gun. We're going to give it, for accuracy, 9 out of a possible 10. Next up, ergonomics, fam. I love, it's a 2011 grip angle. I love the Vulcan grip. I think they do a really, really good job with their grips. And I forget who they source their grips from. But at the end of the day, it's a really good grip. It's a really good feeling gun. Is it an Atlas grip? No. But none of these grips are. I still like the grip quite a bit. I'm going to give ergonomics 9 out of a possible 10. All right, fam, these next two categories, we're going to lump them together. Aftermarket support as well as maintenance and upkeep. Look, it's a 2011. You got to clean it. These are Ferraris. They are not pickup trucks. You got to break it down every 1,000 rounds or so. Clean it, oil it, and you're going to be good to go. So many shops now are doing work on 2011s. So many companies are manufacturing them now. Even more companies are coming out with aftermarket support for them now, as you can see by the look of this gun. So aftermarket support, maintenance and upkeep, 4 out of 5 in both of those categories. All right, fam. Next up, affordability. So normally, for a mid-tier firearm that's like in the mid-4s, you would get like a 2 out of a possible 5 points. But this gun has been upgraded. The upgrades that you see here, including the Vulcan Machine Works grip, red dirt trigger, added to the price, not to mention the colorways, right? And so it's not inexpensive. It's not inexpensive. The upgrades were $1,000 plus on top of the price of the gun. So you're looking at a gun that's between, the way you see it here, between $5,000 and $6,000. That's a pretty penny. We're only going to give this a 1 out of a possible 5 for affordability. All right, fam. Last but not least, flex. Is Instagram going to go crazy? Or your boy's going to be like, damn? Absolutely, fam. I get so many compliments on my Staccato XC. More so than a lot of my more expensive guns. I think Vulcan knocked it out of the park with the styling of this gun, and on aesthetics alone, let alone how great it shoots, on aesthetic alone, it's one of my favorite guns. Flex points, we're giving this gun full 5 out of possible 5 for flex. All right, fam, if you add all of that up, you get a whopping 89 out of a possible 100. Just 1 point away from Grail gun status for 2A-N-LA's custom Vulcan Machine Works Staccato XC, fam. This is a blast to shoot. It remains to this day one of the favorite guns in my collection. Like I said, this was my gateway drug into kind of mid-tier and higher end 2011s. It's a phenomenal shooting gun. If you guys are thinking about a mid-tier 2011, I don't know if the Staccato XC would be my first choice, but it would be it's definitely as good a shooter, certainly, as most of the guns that are in that mid-tier area. It is definitely as well, if not better, manufactured than most guns in that mid-tier area. And yeah, remains one of my favorite, the Staccato XC. All right, fam, that's it for this episode. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.